So what we have here is a movie based on a true story about kidnapping, theft, torture, and murder that Michael Bay has so tastelessly made into a comedy. Yeah, does anyone else who's seen this feel as dirty as I do right now?
Big warm fuzzy secret hearts, cold monkey like you.
Welcome back to Filmmaster Reviews. I'm Adam J. And to be honest, I am so sick of talking about my detest for Michael Bay at this point. I'm just tired of it. There is nothing I can say about this man that I haven't already. His movies are shot terribly, his humor is god-awful, and he always seems to be under the impression that if there are enough explosions and bad jokes, that his films will practically direct themselves. Now we have his newest film, Pain and Gain, and I must say the title is half right because it was quite honestly just painful sitting through this. I got the pain part, but I really don't see what you could possibly gain sitting through this tasteless, annoying, stupid piece of crap. And before you ask, no, I wasn't expecting jack shit from Michael Bay. However, I was expecting something from the screenwriters of this film, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who, in case you didn't know, wrote the screenplays for Prince Caspian and Captain America: The First Avenger. They have proven to be good screenwriters in the past, and I figured with some good writers behind it, the movie would at least be passable. But then about halfway through the film, I was incredibly disgusted, and just like too many Jaeger bombs on New Year's, it hit me. J.J. Abrams wrote Armageddon, Quentin Tarantino did the uncredited final rewrite of The Rock, and Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman wrote The Island, Transformers, and Transformers 2. Don't know, I guess it doesn't matter who's writing or how good the writers are. Michael Bay will still find a way to fuck shit up. The movie stars Mark Wahlberg as Daniel Lugo, a whiny bodybuilder who spends most of his time monologuing about how much he hates his life. Dwayne Johnson plays Paul Doyle, a born-again Christian bodybuilder who spends most of his time monologuing about how much he hates his life. Anthony Mackie plays Adrian Doorball, a steroid-using douchebag bodybuilder who, you guessed it, spends most of his time monologuing about how much he hates his life. I'm not even joking when I say this. Every main character in this film has an inner monologue, and it gets really annoying really fast. You know, there's a little something in film called show, don't tell, Michael Bay. Perhaps you should look into that. I mean, the Spider-Man movies had inner monologues in the beginning of each film, but they all lasted for maybe a minute. They never distracted from the story at hand. In Pain and Gain, they do it throughout the entire fucking film. So anyway, these three get the idea to kidnap one of the rich clients at their gym, played by Tony Shalhoub, blindfold him, and torture him, thus making him sign over to them everything he owns. When he figures out who they are, they attempt to kill him several times, and yet he manages to survive every attempt. However, since he's such a douchebag, no cops in the area believe his story. No! Like, seriously, none of them even look into it. He's in a cast, beaten head to toe and in a wheelchair, clinging on to life, and no one believes that he was tortured into giving up everything he had. He eventually has to hire a private detective to help him out. Yeah, I gotta say, if this is how it really happened, then the cops in Miami are fucking retards. But as they spend all the money they stole from this man, they get greedy and attempt to do it to someone else, which leads to them murdering that someone else, as well as his wife. Oh, and did I mention that all of this is a comedy based on a true story? Yeah, kind of annoyed by that. First off, just gonna say it, this movie is not funny. At all. Mark Wahlberg is never funny, Dwayne Johnson is never funny, Anthony Mackie is never funny, and Tony Shalhoub is never funny. Oh, they try, but the jokes are so bad and at times so tasteless that I couldn't laugh at them. For a joke to work, you need humor. You can try and defend this all you want and say, oh well, you just didn't get it, it was a dark comedy. No. Death to Smoochie is a good dark comedy. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a good dark comedy. Pain and Gain thinks it's a dark comedy, when in reality, it's an incredibly tasteless one.
Here's what I mean by it being tasteless. It should not have been a comedy, especially when representing this story, because if you do know anything about this story, which I do because I've watched a lot of true crime shit over the years, you should know that most of this movie is complete crap. These three assholes were exactly that. Assholes. They were thieving, murdering scumbags in real life. They tortured a man almost to death and then killed two more innocent rich people who in the film are drug dealers yet in real life were not. And just the thought of making a comedy that glorifies these three individuals, a comedy that is shitting on the families of the victims by doing so, is just sickening. The movie, honest to God, wants to make you like these characters, even going as far as to make the violent murders they committed accidental. Yeah, way to piss off the families of the victims, you soulless bastards. Well, it didn't work on me, and I'm pretty sure that if I had known nothing about this story going in, I still would have hated these characters. Every time the film wants you to warm up to them, they turn around and do something stupid, unfunny, or just plain dark that makes you hate them again. Take Dwayne Johnson, for example. As I said before, he plays a born-again Christian in this movie. Which was not what his real-life counterpart was, but hey, you know, that's Michael Bay. Either way, he goes around praising Jesus in this film and how Jesus will guide him down the right path and forgive him for his sins, which leads to a lot of very unfunny religious gags. However, in spite of him doing this, he gets addicted to cocaine, runs a man over, beats up a priest, beats up some cops, and feeds his big toe to a fucking dog. I'm not kidding. Born-again Christian, and he does all that crap throughout the film. This is how all the characters are. It's just a fucking mess. It wants you to find them funny and like them, but in the end, it's damn near impossible. Which, in retrospect, I guess is a good thing, because you shouldn't like these fucking people anyway! I laughed at one thing, and one thing only, in this whole film, and that was Rebel Wilson. Her scenes are actually funny because Rebel Wilson is funny. She's a very funny actress. When will Michael Bay realize he can't do comedy? I mean, you'd think he'd have realized that after Mudflap and Skids. He can't do comedy. Okay, you had Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2, which despite being shit films, had funny moments because you had Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, two legitimately funny actors, working off each other perfectly. The same can be said for Armageddon, which while not a comedy, had funny moments due to the funny actors in the film. This had Rebel Wilson, and that was it. She had the only funny lines in the movie. That's really all I can say. Thank you, Rebel Wilson. We all love you. So aside from the film being incredibly tasteless and unfunny, how is everything else? Well, I can easily say this with a straight face. This is Michael Bay's worst directed film by far. Oh yeah, I'm going there. Just from the film's opening, I knew this was gonna hurt. It had some of the most pointless shots and pointless slow-mo I've ever seen. Slow-mo can be used to great effect in films, don't get me wrong. Shit, Zack Snyder's so damn good at incorporating it, he's practically got it down to a fucking science. Michael Bay is just as bad with slow-mo as Paul W.S. Anderson is. He uses it at times when it's completely unneeded and serves no purpose. One slow-mo shot in the beginning of the film had the wide-angle lens on Mark Wahlberg's face while he's running for well over a minute. Yeah, that's pretty much what it looked like. I feel like the fucking movie is deformed. There's no reason for it. The way this film is structured, especially with all the characters monologuing every 5 minutes, is piss poor. At times, as in most Michael Bay films, it's hard to keep track of exactly what the fuck is going on because this film is all over the damn place. How did the actors do? Not well. Rebel Wilson was fine in the whole 5 minutes of screen time she had, and Ed Harris was fine in the whole 10 minutes of screen time he had. but because it's so unfunny, Wahlberg, Johnson, Mackie, and Shalhoub are all unlikable, and even more so for the people like me who know the true story and know that this movie is bullshit. What pisses me off is that someone could have taken this story and made a very serious crime drama out of it.
But instead, Michael Bay decided, oh, fuck the families! Fuck how everyone else wants it done! Fuck how it really happened! I'm gonna turn this into a comedy! You don't like that, you say? I don't care, you'll pay to see it, fuck you! You know what this reminds me of? This is exactly like that movie Monster with Charlize Theron. Which is a terrible fucking movie, by the way.
That was another movie that tried making you feel sorry for Aileen Wuornos by portraying the men she killed as rapists. No, the real Aileen Wuornos killed men out of her own volition and free will, not because they tried to rape her. She was an honest-to-God psychopath, and Christina Ricci's character in that film was every bit as bad. Her lesbian lover in real life was just as guilty and psychotic as she was. But Monster tried making you feel so sorry for them, like the world should just give them a break even though they're miserable pieces of murdering crap. Pain and Gain is the same damn thing with less production value and more tasteless crap thrown in because, again, it's a comedy. With Pain and Gain, Michael Bay did not have any permission from the families of the victims to make this film, didn't care how the story was told, and decided to tell everyone to go fuck themselves and turn a tragic story into a comedy. The sister of one of the victims made the statement that she was disgusted that the film was portraying the killers of her brother in a positive light. Yeah, I guess she wasn't too happy with the movie trying to make you like Dwayne Johnson as he's cooking her brother's hands on a grill with a smile on his face.
I guess she wasn't smelling what The Rock was cooking that day, huh, Michael Bay?
In closing, Pain and Gain is the worst film I've seen all year. Yes, Movie 43 was an abomination. Texas Chainsaw 3D broke my goddamn heart, and A Good Day to Die Hard butchered one of my favorite franchises, but this movie is so insulting, tasteless, and mean-spirited that every copy of it should just be burned. It should be pulled from theaters, and I really hope the families of the victims, as well as the man who really survived the tragedy, file a fucking lawsuit. They deserve to collect damages after having their tragedies reduced to nothing more than a cheap fucking laugh.
Everyone involved with this movie should have to make a public apology to the victims' families. I fucking mean that. I'm so fucking angry with this movie. This film had no fucking business being made into a comedy. You know, fuck it. I'm done. I can't talk about this shit anymore.
Pain and Gain gets 0 out of 5 stars. Fuck this damn movie. Never watch this shit.
Get a pump.
That's it. It's good. It hurts. I know it does. That's it. Get it. You said no violence.
And I meant it when I said it, I swear to God.
I cannot kill.
Duly noted. Look, when this is over, we'll all go camping, all right?
Okay.